My entitled sister demands that I give her my car that she gave to me 2 years ago so that she can sell it to buy a new car herself. And despite the fact that we signed it over into my name and we spent thousands of dollars fixing it up because it was undrivable, my sister still feels entitled to it in a way that I'm honestly so confused by, because right now I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. So about 2 years and a couple of months ago, I was looking for a cheap car to buy because my husband and I had been driving an old car that was really starting to give out. My sister at the time owned a Dodge Dart and a Dodge Charger. She and her significant other also had a Taurus that was from the year 2000 that had literally just been sitting there parked in her driveway for 2 years, and it was completely undrivable. So she and her significant other offered to give my family the broke down car. I asked them what they wanted for it, and the response that I got was them saying, "Oh, nothing at all. We are family, and if you are getting it running, you can have it." And that is quite literally a quote from them. Now, I was extremely grateful, and so my husband and I borrowed a trailer and picked up the car and put the car in our names. We worked on the car for about a month in the yard, buying car parts for it, and finally we got it running. A little over 2 years later, we spent about $1,000 in major parts and repairs just to keep her running for our family as we used it. She was my everyday and only car. We put hours of labor and love into this 20-year-old car just to keep it going for us. Now, not one time had I ever heard my sister or her significant other ask for anything of the car in those 2 years. Well, a month ago, my husband and I decided to finance a Dodge Journey 2018 since we found out that we were pregnant a few months ago and we needed more room for another baby. My husband had worked so hard for a promotion, and we felt we could finally afford a car note and use the Taurus as a backup in case it didn't work out. I have had it now for about 30 days, and I just made my first regular payment on it. Now, when it comes to my sister, during that 2 years, she has had 2 more kids, and now will have a third kid all under 4 years old. She had quit her job months ago, just as I had, to stay home and take care of her babies. Her significant other only makes $4 less than mine, and things really took a turn for them. And somehow she is 4 payments behind on her Chevy Tahoe that she is financing. She sold her Dodge Dart for a down payment on this vehicle about a year ago, and she was very worried about how she was going to make her baby's doctor's appointments and how her significant other was going to get to work. These conversations went on for about a month, and not once did she ever ask about the Taurus. I talked it over with my husband, and I asked him if we could let her borrow the car if hers gets repossessed until she can get another one. Well, we both agreed, and I called her and I told her that she can come use the Taurus for however long it took for her to get another car. I also let her know that it was having a hard time making it out of town, while also telling her what to watch for when driving, because it was becoming our backup car for a reason. Well, just this afternoon, I asked her if she still thought she needed the Taurus, and she said yes and that she was coming to get it soon. Then they commented how they were going to sell the Taurus for a down payment for another car, and I was completely shocked to hear that. But I told her she is not going to sell my car, but she can use it for however long she needed. She then got very upset and told me, "Okay, so after we gave you the car, you expect us to buy it from you?" And I just said to her, "No, that is my car, and I offered to buy the car when I took it over 2 years ago, and the both of you said no." I said that it was not run for over 2 years, and we had put so much money and labor into the car just to keep it going those 2 years that we had it. She then called me a hypocrite and that I was selfish because she had helped me get up in life and that I didn't need it now because I have another car, while also claiming that she gave us a head start in life. And when she said that, I was just shocked. She feels as though I owe it to her to give her this car that I have owned for over 2 years and put so much money and labor into it. I then cried to my husband about it, and he had showed me all the money that he had lent her and her significant other on Cash App and how she had still not paid it back, which was about $400 in the last few months ever since their finances started to go downhill. I told him not to send it to her and that it wasn't worth asking for it even after she called me a hypocrite and acted like she was my savior. All those days she called me crying about how bad her significant other was spending their money and they were just completely broke. All those times I dropped off Medicaid applications as well as several other similar applications for her, and she just never even touched them. I lent her my money anytime she asked, and I even paid for and arranged both of her baby showers. I tried all I could to help her out these last few months, but when I draw the line with the car, it was almost as if it was all for nothing. She acted like I was selfish and ungrateful to her. I'm just so sad right now, and I'm trying to make sure my own pregnancy hormones aren't getting in the way of my decision. My husband says that she dug her own hole, so we just need to let her lie in it. But he was angry about the hurtful words that she had said to me. Well, I messaged her that I would be glad to allow her to use the car still, even after what she said, but she still felt entitled to it and hung up on me because I did not want her to sell my car. Now, after all that's said and done, am I in the right? And am I wrong to feel justified in my actions? I feel like I'm being guilt-tripped, and I just need validation or some kind of opinion because right now I seriously don't know what to do. No, you are not the jerk and you didn't do anything wrong. Your sister is literally trying to steal your car and sell it off so they can get a new one. Like, that is all that's going on right now, and that is insane in my opinion. So what? Even though the car's in your name and your husband's name, they still feel entitled to have it and be like, oh yeah, we deserve it. We're gonna take that car and sell it to get a new car. It's like, no, you're not. 2 years ago, you signed it over to me. This is my car now. You don't own it. Just because they were too lazy to fix it up and do something with it doesn't mean you should be punished because you actually did do something with it. Like, you made it work. You put the time and effort into it, and you literally spent so much money just to get this car drivable. So for your sister to step in and be like, we deserve that car, we're gonna use that and sell it for something else, like, that is just completely crazy in my opinion, and it's honestly so unbelievably entitled. So no, you are definitely not the jerk, because the way your sister is acting, in my opinion, is absolutely uncalled for. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. Also, go to amithejerk.com/submit if you would like to submit your own stories. This next story came from the Am I the Jerk subreddit. Check the links in the description if you would like to submit your own story. Am I the jerk for constantly starting fights with my parents every time they violate my privacy boundaries? Because right now, it's the worst it's ever been in my life, and at this point, I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. Okay, to start things out, I'm a 22-year-old male, and this is a problem that I've been dealing with since my early teenage years. I grew up in a household that never really seemed to have a regard or respect for privacy. A lot of the times, I would rationalize it for being our culture or how my parents were raised, but at other times, it was just downright frustrating and even confusing how my parents refused to allow for certain privacies in their home. One of the biggest struggles and disagreements that has been long-lasting to this current date is the boundary of my room. Now, I'm not a very messy person. Granted, when I was younger, I was even cleaner, and this was due to my mom's OCD-like tendencies. I was raised with absolute spotless floors that were vacuumed and mopped daily, if not twice daily. Now, because of this, I was always witnessing my mom with her own cleaning patterns and organization patterns. I learned from her, and before I knew it, I too was also very clean and very organized as an individual. Well, fast forward a few years later, and I've gotten older, and I'm now a young adult, preparing and saving to move out and start the next chapter of my life. However, the relationship with my parents has only worsened. The boundary of my room being off limits to my mother has been an ongoing argument ever since the day I decided to go against her style of decorating and organizing. Whether it was to hang up LED strips, tapestries, or posters along my walls, it was always an issue. Whether it was to buy new chairs or beanbags for my room, it was always an issue. Even recently, about a year ago, I bought 2 new rugs for my floor, and that was also an issue for some ridiculous and outlandish reason. It's done nothing but cause some of the most heated verbal conflicts between me and my parents, driving a wedge in the relationship. 8 months after I had bought the rugs and displayed them, I returned from a 5,000-mile road trip across the country just to find out that my rugs had been removed and my room was almost completely rearranged. Everything was changed and reorganized, from where I kept my very important migraine medication all the way to where I keep my collection of shoes. When I come home, I find the boxes that I keep them in thrown away in the recycling. Meanwhile, my medication is nowhere to be spotted, and my entire room doesn't look anything like it did when I left. To make matters even worse, I had recorded what my room looked like right before I had left for my trip, so I had literal videographic proof of the issue, so it only made me angrier and angrier. On a separate occasion days after, I started to develop an insane migraine, and I needed my medication fast. Usually, when I get migraines, it involves these super irritating stars in my eyes that basically block my vision completely. When I rushed searching around my room, I was left sitting in absolute intense pain for 2 hours, unable to find the medication that I usually keep in a very specific, easy-to-locate location. I even called my mother and father multiple times just to be left on voicemail every single time. I was furious. As soon as my mom came home, she pretended and played stupid, acting like she had no clue where my medication had been moved because she hadn't been in my room for the past 2 months. But then I pulled up the video that I had taken right before my trip, and I show her the footage of exactly where my medication bottle was sitting in my room. She then walks around the house for 2 minutes, pretending to be confused and acting as if she doesn't know where they are. Then, seconds after looking around in my bathroom, she comes walking out shaking my medication bottle and jokingly saying, "Oh, you're always so faded. You never know where you leave your stuff at? I never even moved this. It's your medicine, and it's supposed to go in your medicine cabinet where we all keep our medicine. But that's the thing, I've never done that, ever. For as long as I've had migraines, I've never once walked to the bathroom and grabbed it in the cabinet. And that's when I just officially lost it. I slammed the door shut in her face, and when my dad came home, I immediately came storming out and I yelled at him. Now, I feel bad every time this happens, especially afterwards, but at the same time, he continuously allows for this pattern of conflict to keep repeating. Multiple times, I have asked that either a lock that only I have the key to is placed on the door, or that my mom is to be kept from stepping foot in my room anymore to organize or move my stuff around. Every time this happens and is brought up, my dad only tries to calm me down or yells at me to either deal with the situation or move out. And this specifically is becoming his response every single time now, even though he fully knows that I've been saving up money to move out for a while now. Then this further results in super tense verbal altercations, where a ton of insults and mean or rude comments are traded back and forth, mainly on my behalf due to the frustration, and even at times gaslighting from my mother. I love my family and I love my mom and dad, and I will always be grateful for the fact that they put a roof over my head for all of 22 years. And they did take care of me, raise me, and put food on my plates. But right now, I feel so frustrated and disrespected as an individual. I should have a choice on how my room is decorated. I should have a choice for whether I want to keep my shoe collection in their boxes or not. And I should be allowed to have the proper privacy and safe space in the home that I live in. So am I the jerk in this situation? What should I do? Man, this story is meant for me because I feel the exact same way the original poster does. Seriously, is it that big of a deal to be like, okay, this is my room and I want some privacy? Like, that really should be the bare minimum of like what you expect in your life, especially when you're living with other people, regardless of if they're your parents or not. Like, that is so uncalled for her to act like that and for her to basically go in and move everything around. Like, that would drive me crazy if that was me. Because personally, I'm a very private individual and I don't like people being all up in my business. And in this case, it is quite literally someone else going through all of your stuff. I would lose my mind if someone moved all my stuff around like that. Like, that is so violating. So no, you're not the jerk for getting upset, because they clearly are just not taking you seriously. And if anything, if you really wanted to send a message, you could easily change out those locks on the door and put in a doorknob that only you have the key to. Like, sure, that would probably cause like an uproar of some kind, and you can obviously keep the other door ready if they really want to change it back out, but that really would send a clear message that you want privacy while you're living there. But regardless, in the meantime, I really hope you're saving as much money as you can, because the way your parents are acting is super obnoxious, and I don't blame you in the slightest for being frustrated. Am I the jerk for not being supportive of my girlfriend's decision after she signed up to run a half marathon, even though she's never run in this capacity in her life? Here's what happened. So I have a girlfriend that just recently decided to sign up for a half marathon come December. The reason why she signed up is because she doesn't want to go to an event that's also happening that day, so now she has a built-in excuse, and that's honestly really wild to me. She asked me beforehand, and I told her that I thought it was a bad idea. She doesn't like running, nor does she even run, and she could find another excuse that isn't running a half marathon. Well, she signed up anyways. She then told me that she will follow a 12-week plan for running the half marathon that was given to her with her inscription. Now, here's the thing. I'm a runner in an elite running club, and I've run over a dozen half marathons and countless 5Ks and 10Ks in my life. This summer, I ran a 10K and a half marathon, and I finished 5th overall in the 10K and 12th in my category for the half marathon. I'm by no means a good runner, good as in I can make a living doing it, but I do know what I'm talking about. Now, she has often talked about wanting to get in shape, which I've always encouraged but never pushed for it. I mean, it really is just not my place. About a month ago, she started going to workout classes, and she's enjoying them quite a bit, and I have gone with her a couple of times. So I assumed that going to these workout classes was the final motivation she needed to sign up for the half marathon. Anyways, I advised her to start walking and jogging now before she starts the 12-week program. I told her that she needs to build a cardio base before she takes on a half marathon program that includes jogging, repetitions, intervals, long distance, and some hills. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but she doesn't want to because she's not willing to stop going to these workout classes, and she gets tired doing 2 workouts a day. I told her that a half marathon is a lot of mileage and that she needed to get extra prepared so she doesn't get injured in the race. She said she's not interested in achieving a good time and that she just wants to finish the race, even if it's walking. She also said that she has a cardio base from playing basketball growing up, even though she stopped playing basketball 8 years ago. I told her that she made this commitment and that she should take it more seriously. 12 weeks for a half marathon is a pretty standard program when you've been running, and you want to hit your peak in the race, not when you're about to start from scratch. Well, that was the last straw, and she got really upset with me, saying that I was trying to put her down, I was not being supportive of her, and that it's not easy for her when her boyfriend is in great shape and she isn't. Now, at that point, I apologized for making her feel that way, and that I would just drop it. I do feel that I need to find a better way to approach it, but at this point, I really need to know, am I the jerk in this situation? What should I do? No, you're not the jerk at all. You're literally just trying to look out for your girlfriend, who in my opinion is quite literally in over her head. Like, why would she say, oh yeah, I'm gonna sign up for a half marathon to get out of this obligation? Why not pick literally anything else? Like, there is a myriad of reasons why she could get out of this obligation, so the fact that she thought, oh yeah, a marathon would be a good excuse, like, that's crazy to me, and that just doesn't make any sense. If anything, it sounds like the plot out of The Office or something like that. So no, I don't think you're the jerk for trying to like tell her the truth about what's going on here, because I really think that she's going to have a rude awakening. Am I the jerk for yelling at my dirty housemate in front of his friends after he once again forgot to flush the toilet? Here's what happened. Okay, so I live in a house with another guy who is incredibly dirty. The biggest issue is that he often uses a toilet and then doesn't flush. And every time I find it, he denies it's him, but it's obviously either me or him, and I know it's not me. Now, this situation has been taking a toll on my mental health, as I suffer from anxiety and depression, and having to deal with someone else's garbage just isn't helping. I've even gone out of my way to buy all the necessary cleaning supplies, and I left them by the toilet for him to use, but he still doesn't flush properly. He only flushes once and just hopes for the best, I guess. Well, today it happened again. I was already stressed because I had a fight with a friend, and I came home really mad. My boyfriend was with me, and he knows how much this situation affects me. Unfortunately, I can't move out for another 3 months because of the contract, but after that, I'm moving in with my boyfriend. When I got home, I decided to shower, and of course, I found that my housemate didn't flush again. His friends were over, but I know it was him who made the mess because they only arrived after me and my boyfriend, and I even asked them at the reception when they came in. Well, I was furious, and I stormed straight to his room and I screamed at him. I called him a disgusting fat pig and some other names that I'm not proud of. He tried denying it again, but I called him out on his BS. His friends gave him the side eye, and he eventually went to clean up after himself. Now, my boyfriend supports what I did, and my housemate apologized and claimed that he has IBS, but that is literally not even the issue for me. The real problem is him not flushing properly. I told him to stop using that as an excuse and to just act like an adult. Well, here's the thing. My sister thinks that I'm the jerk because I could have talked to him privately instead of embarrassing him in front of his friends. She reminded me that he's mentioned having trouble making friends before, and what I did is definitely not helping. So am I the jerk in this situation? What should I do? No, you're not the jerk because that is something that should be cleaned up and taken care of right away. You literally should only have to tell him that once, and that should be fixed like immediately, because that is incredibly gross. Like, seriously, dude, just flush the toilet and clean up after yourself. So in my opinion, calling him out in front of his friends might have been the only thing to get through to him. Like, if I was in your shoes, I would have done the same thing. Like, for me personally, I wouldn't care if he's embarrassed. He needs to figure this out and get it taken care of. And if you talking to him in private isn't going to do the job, then maybe talking in front of his friends will get him to change his habits, because what he's doing is absolutely unacceptable, and you should not have to deal with that in the slightest. Am I the jerk for locking my room so my roommate doesn't get in when I'm not home? Because right now, my roommate's saying that I'm questioning his character, and at this point, I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. I'm a 23-year-old male, and I'm living with a friend whom I have known for years. This friend is 37 years old, and I moved into his apartment last August, and I have been renting one of the rooms there since. However, in February, he sent a message to my sister that my jacket smelled like the herb, if you know what I mean. He had no prior contact with my sister, but he was angry with me for not being home that weekend, which is why he sent it. Now, I have since quit smoking, but I felt like he crossed some boundaries, and I've been mostly to myself ever since. The reason I bring up the fact that he told my sister that I smoked is because he knows that my family do not take lightly to this. He knew it would make me look like some sort of junkie, which my sister thought for some time, and I was just illustrating that his intentions aren't always good, even though he pretends that they are. However, when I'm not home, he is often in my room and goes through my trash and picks up bottles. I've let him know that I find it weird and I don't want him in my room when I am not home. I also don't have a key, so I am unable to lock the door when I leave for class or for work. When I order takeout with my own money, which is rare but it does happen occasionally, he finds it in my trash and lets me know that he never orders takeout because it's a waste of money. He also tells me to clean my room, even though it's pretty clean for the record, but he has a different standard to what clean is than I do. He smells my clothing that I put in the wash and tries to confront me sometimes times thinking that I smoke. Also, he tells me to close my window when I go to work or to class, even though we don't live in the first floor. So basically, he's in my room a lot when I'm not home. He also goes into my room when I'm sleeping because I'm sleeping next to my laptop as I need to watch something to go to bed. He says it's to remove the laptop, but I've told him that I don't want him to do that. But instead, he just keeps doing it. Additionally, he insists on using the bathroom when I am showering and using the kitchen when I'm cooking. And I find this to be an invasion of my privacy, and I have confronted him, insinuating that his behavior is controlling. I have asked for a key for my room, which he didn't take lightly, and I want to keep pushing for a key, but he makes it seem like I'm questioning his character. I want a key, but I feel like a jerk for pushing for it. What should I do? Okay, first of all, your roommate is a massive creep. This guy's going into your bedroom while you're sleeping, and he's literally going through your trash while you're like not aware of it. Like, that's weird, and I don't care who you are, you shouldn't do that to somebody. And you know what? Yes, you are questioning his character. This guy is going through your stuff. The only reason he doesn't want to give you a key is because he literally just wants to keep going through your stuff while you're not there. And God knows how many times he's done that. So no, you're not the jerk for wanting to lock your room, but in my opinion, the bigger problem is the roommate itself, because this guy sounds like a massive weirdo. And in my opinion, you can find a much better roommate than what this guy is trying to offer. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist at the top of the description. And if you want some chill music to put on in the background, check out easymode.com. If you like Am I the Jerk, subscribe to Am I the Genius. Everything will be linked down below in the description.